Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Copilot Compass, where each week we take a deep dive into Microsoft 365 Copilot. As always, I have the pleasure of being joined by my esteemed colleague, fellow Copilot enthusiast, and our resident smart guy, Logan.
Thanks, Grant. Happy to be here.
Awesome. And Logan, why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit more about what they can expect from this week's episode?
Yeah, so as always, we're going to get started with our question of the week, and then we're going to get into our topic, which is Microsoft Word. So we're going to be going through a bunch of different use cases of Copilot in Word, so it should be pretty fun. I'm excited. And make sure you stay tuned to the end for a sneak peek of what we got coming up next, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for this episode. Are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's get into our question of the week. And remember to leave a comment on this video or click the link in the description to send us an email with your own question. So let's get started. If I create an agent and want to share it with a colleague, does my colleague also need a Copilot license to use it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think we obviously last week we covered agents. We probably should have been a little bit more clear, but that's glad that one of our audience viewers chimed in with this question. So long story short, yes, you need to have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license to use that agent. Um, there's not really a lot of flexibility there, at least at this stage. We'll continue to kind of monitor that as things move forward. But one potential workaround that you can use with something like an HR agent is instead of let's say you have a 5,000 person company, obviously that HR benefits package, stuff like that, that's all going to be applicable to all of your employees, or, at least vast majority. So if that's your only real use case that you want to use, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to be paying for, $30 a month for 5,000 employees to have access to Copilot just for that purpose.
Yeah.
So one thing that you can do is basically set up some kind of a shared workstation or somewhere central within the office or something that, people can go through, that you just basically license, that shared workstation with Copilot, and then folks can use it from there. It's obviously not as convenient as being right in front of you and on your screen. And, in an HR example too, you might be asking it sensitive information. You don't want to have people around you. So it's not a great workaround, but, you know, without just licensing everybody with Copilot, you're not going to be able to get people to access that agent. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you about covered it there. Just to reiterate, so basically, if I did created that agent last week, I wouldn't be able to share it with any of my colleagues. We did not have the Copilot license. But yeah, like you're saying, there's workarounds, and I'm sure there's a couple other things you could do to kind of get around it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think this is a good question. Again, those of you at home, please do chime in with your questions. We'd love to cover your question next week. With that, I think, are you ready to get down to it and talk about Word?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Awesome. Let's do it. All right, so this week we're talking about Copilot in Microsoft Word. So this is a really good early adoption use case, especially for departments that are using a lot of documentation or using Word quite frequently, or also, executives and salespeople that might need to consume large amounts of information in a Word document that's shared with them. So I think, we've seen a lot of the customers that we've worked with and people we've talked to that this is kind of some of those good day one use cases to find early ROI with Copilot. So what it boils down to with Word is content creation and then summarization and a Q&A experience. So those are kind of, at the end of the day, it really boils into those two categories for the purposes of an end user or a consumer. It's also a great coach. That's a feature that I've been using a lot more lately is, I'll kind of type out a Word document, maybe use Copilot for some sections, and then I want to just get some feedback. And you can change the tone of it so it can review it in like a formal tone, a casual tone, a neutral tone, and, have it give you coaching points on maybe formatting things. Like I've had it find formatting suggestions or points that maybe weren't clear that I maybe would have missed before Copilot existed. So we're going to do 3 demos for you guys today. The first one that we are going to do is we're going to show you how to create an article based on information that is publicly available on the web. Then we are going to do basically the same thing, content creation. We're going to create a Word document based on a file that we have shared on our OneDrive. So in referencing work information. Our final use case that we'll do today is just showing you how you can summarize a lengthy document and use that Q&A functionality. So yeah, I think with that, let's dive into our first crow's nest demo.
Let's do it.
All right, so our first demo today is going to be using just web-based information to create a Word document. So this is, again, it's pulling from just publicly available information. It's not pulling from info that's available on your company SharePoints and OneDrives. We will demo that in just a moment. But I'm here in Word. I've got just a brand new, fresh document open. And there's a couple of ways that you can interact with Copilot here. So you can see there's just a nice, easy right in front of you. If the document's blank, select this icon to use Word to draft with Copilot. There is also going to be this Copilot icon over here on this right side of the bar here. This is kind of that more traditional chat experience that you have with Copilot. I'll go ahead and just select this icon here for now. And it's going to give me this it's kind of, description of what I can type in here. You can see it's going to allow me to go up to 2,000 characters if you want to get very specific and give it really concrete coaching points. But for the purposes of this demo, we'll stick with, of course, as always, our nautical and pirate theme. So I'm going to ask it to create a history and biography on, let's say, Bartholomew Roberts, and I'll go ahead and select enter here. So for those of you that are not familiar with old Bartholomew Roberts, he's a kind of a famous pirate, most notably known for capturing something like 400 ships or something like that in his time. He's also, fun fact, the inspiration for the character Dread Pirate Beard in the movie The Princess Bride. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I learned something new today.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So this is what it's done for me. So it's given me content here. I can kind of scroll through just quickly here. It's got his early life, his journey into piracy, becoming a captain, his naval prowess. So, I won't read through every section, but this is kind of giving me a great starting place. Now, you'll still see that it's got this text all highlighted in blue, and it's still got this down here for me, this kind of Copilot thing. So I can just keep it if I like it. I can also, ask it to do things like, it's prompting me here, make it more formal. I can ask it to change the tone as I see fit. We've shown some examples with Copilot before using like a pirate voice. We won't get quite that silly today, but let's say I wanted to give me a more detailed family history. And then now one thing you might see here, I pressed the enter button. So that just gave me it moved the cursor down like as if I was typing. So in order for it to, go ahead and do its thing, you actually have to press this icon here, the generate icon. So I'll go ahead and do that now. What you'll see is it's rewriting the whole thing for me. Now it's going to keep the sections, at least relatively the same, other than the coaching points that I have asked it. So I can see here that the document's now a little bit longer. We can look up here and see, did it give me specifically, okay, so the early life and family background, it's got an additional paragraph in here. But this is kind of at a very high level. This is a way that you can use Copilot in Word to create a new document. So now what we'll do is let's go ahead. We'll do our next demo where we'll talk about more applicable for businesses today. How do I use Copilot to create a Word document in reference to other business documents? Okay, so now we'll build a Word document based on a reference file. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and start the demo, and then I'll explain some kind of tips, tricks, best practices that we have found. So I'll use the same experience here, the icon to use Copilot. I'll bring up that exact same experience. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference your content. So it's going to base its responses and the content it generates based on these reference files. So what I can do here is it's going to pop up for me. I can see right here, there's this one, the Jolly Roger Company Comprehensive HR Benefits. It popped up for me right away because I just had this open. This is basically a mock HR benefits package PowerPoint deck for, a fake company we've made up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, build a overview of this PowerPoint deck. And I'll go ahead and click generate. It's got that reference content there. I can see that PowerPoint icon there below it. Now, as it's building this out, a couple of best practices for us. So, at least as far as we are aware, there's no strict limitation on the number of files that you can reference, but there are some kind of practical guidelines for, a good experience here. So one is the count, the word count. So try to keep the word count on any reference documents down to 80,000 words or less. You also want to try to keep those individual file sizes under 20 pages, if you can. And, just as a general best practice, smaller and shorter documents are better. We are aware too that there is an upload limit of 10 megabytes per file. But again, as far as we are aware, at least, there's no limitation to number of files. So, all right. So what I can see here did the same thing. So it's given me a sort of a Word doc breakdown of that PowerPoint deck. This is a very short version of it. So I can tell you, just having seen the slides, that it's given me basically like one bullet point per slide. So maybe what I want to do is I want to say, make it formal and add more details to the perks and benefits section. And again, I need to click this generate button in order for it to, actually do its thing. Going to redo that whole article for me. Hopefully focusing on the coaching points I've given into it. But I can see down here now, I can see already the document's already longer. It's still doing its thing here, but now I can see that in the additional perks, yeah, much longer here now. So, really good way if you have, like, let's say a bunch of project documents, Excel files, PDFs or something for a project, and you want to consolidate all of that into a project plan. You could certainly just say, create a formal project plan for me based on these files and reference that documentation and spreadsheets you have and have it spin you out a starting draft. Our tip here is, never give it one prompt and then just click accept and use it. You're going to want to give it coaching and feedback, use it as if you were talking to a human and tell it what you want to see be done differently. And then once it's gotten pretty close, you can just accept it and then start to go through it yourself and make your own edits, to it. Don't just take it at its word. So again, really quick and easy use case here to use Word in reference to other work files. All right, so our first two use cases were about creating content. Now we're going to talk about summarizing content that's already there. And I think that this is, the content creation ones, the use cases we've shown are relevant for those that are constantly creating content, or at least, a couple of documents a day. This use case is probably relevant for everybody. So this is, scenario here is you've got a long document that's given to you. I can give you a real life example of myself. I'll be transparent here. Let's say I'm going into a meeting. There was an RFP document that was 50 pages long. I was supposed to have read for that meeting, and it is now 2 minutes before the meeting, and I have just realized that I have forgotten to read that document. So rather than just trying to skim through it or, just get maybe read the introduction in that 2 minutes, now I can kind of use Copilot to summarize it. And then I may want to ask specific questions if there's, maybe some things that I already had in mind. No longer, gone are the days of me having to scroll through that lengthy document to find the section that I'm looking for. So before, when we were interacting with Copilot for content creation, I showed you just to use that icon that pops up on the middle of that blank document. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to interact with Copilot in that kind of side pane chat experience that we are used to with our other apps. So I'll go ahead and select that for now. I'll make this a touch wider for those of us at home. And it's already given me some suggested prompts. So it's saying summarize this document under this understand category. And then this one, I talked at the beginning here about using Copilot for coaching points. So it's asking, it's suggesting how can I more concisely describe something in the document. So first, what we'll do is show you the summarization. So I'm just going to say, I'll go ahead and, select this one right here, summarize this document. Very common use case here. So it's given me basically the cliff notes of the document. And in this case, this was one that we built just for the purpose of this demo. It's a fake RFP response to a company that's looking for somebody to build 5 replica pirate ships. So it's given me a high level breakdown here, what's covered in the RFP. So it's given me, these sections, a company background, the constructive process, construction details, all of these good things. So let's say I want to now ask it, I can make the summary more formal, make the summary more casual. Let's give me some tone suggestions here. Let's say, tell me more about the cost estimate. So let's say it's only giving me something short here. Maybe I want to know, is there more detail in here? So again, it's going to tell me here, total estimate of the cost is 20 million. We got that in the first bullet point, but now here comes that additional detail. So it's giving me this breakdown: 8 million in materials, 9 million in labor, 2 million in design and engineering, and then 1 million in contingency. Seems like a small contingency for building a replica pirate ship.
Yeah.
Yes, they're confident shipbuilder. They better hope that the cost of wood doesn't change along the process here. But okay, so this is a good way, Logan, you got another question we can ask about this document?
Yeah. Can you scroll up to the summary again?
There you go.
Let's ask more about the construction details.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the construction details. And away we go. Well, that's giving me now quite a lot.
Yeah. That is quite a lot.
Yeah, so much more detail here. Another thing too, so it's going to, kind of reference the points that it's referred to bring you the answer. So you can click on those, like this section. Okay. And this is a really common one for me, at least, is like, I'll read through a bullet point or something that it's saying and think, okay, I probably want to get something rather than asking a question of Copilot. I maybe want to go read this section. So you can just click on those little icons next to it and it's going to take you right there. And as you can see, it's highlighted that specific text it's referred to for that response.
Yeah.
So now another thing I might want to do here is I want to say, give me some ideas how I can make this more concise. So this is kind of one of the coaching points. So it's going to pop up for me. And boy, apparently I wasn't very concise because it has given me some, looks like good 7 tips here. So it's suggesting some things like simplify language, use simpler and shorter sentences, combining sections. So it's suggesting the company background and project understanding could be one section. So these are kind of some things that, you might like when you consider your document as final, you maybe ask Copilot for certain suggestions and you can choose to take them or ignore them. But, it's a good way for you to at least get sort of a second opinion with the assistance of Copilot before you ship off those documents that have high visibility. So we hope you found this example useful. This is a really relevant use case of Copilot for a variety of roles in the organization. And we hope that you find this to be as much of a time savings for you as we have found it to be for us. Thank you for joining us on another voyage of the Copilot Compass. This week, we took a deep dive into Microsoft Copilot in Word. So we talked about the use cases there. First, we showed you how you can use Copilot to generate and create content based on web information or publicly available info. Our second use case, we showed very similar how you can create content in reference to other work files. And then our last example was how you can use Copilot to summarize some of those lengthy documents.
yeah, hopefully you've learned something from these examples. I really like Word and Copilot because it's quite simple. It's a really good starting place. So if you're new to Copilot, I would definitely recommend like starting to get familiar with it in Word, because yeah, it's a lot more straightforward than some of the other applications. But yeah, so do us a favor and like, subscribe, and comment. And remember that we have Q&A sessions every episode. So make sure you leave a comment with whatever question you want, or email us with the email address in the description. And make sure you stay tuned to get a sneak preview of what we have next.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.